For the debate, the member for Oshawa.
Thank you, Speaker, and it is my privilege, as always, to stand in this House and lend my voice to the debate. And today, the member from Wellington-Halton Hills has brought forward a motion to make the world a little greener and a little better. And I appreciate the chance to be a part of the conversation about conservation, about planting more trees for our future. The member from Wellington-Halton Hills is calling for a coordinated effort to reach the goal of planting 150 million trees as a project to celebrate the 150th anniversary of the province and Confederation in 2017. That's a great goal. Ontario is a rich and beautiful province. We are fortunate here to have vast green space, sprawling forests and fields, and some of the most beautiful and colorful fall foliage in the world. We are fortunate in Ontario, and I believe we really do appreciate and value our wonderful access to nature. In many cities across the province, we see municipalities leading the way when it comes to parks and green space. We know how important it is to have outdoor community spaces. We know that those spaces need trees and flowers and benches and beauty so that our communities can have a place to come together and grow together. In Oshawa, we've planted over 2,000 trees in about a year. Last November, in recognition of Remembrance Day, Forests Ontario, Trees for Life, the region of Durham, and the City of Oshawa hosted a day of tree planting along the Lakefront Trail on the site of the famous and former Camp X. For those of you unfamiliar with Camp X, just as a side note, it is a site of a historical and super-secret military installation that served as a spy training centre during World War II. But back to trees. On that day, members from the community were joined by veterans, active military personnel, volunteers, and of course politicians. We planted 400 trees that day. The member from Burlington was there too in her role as PA to the Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, and she and I were just remembering how fortunate it was that planting a tree warms the heart, because as we recall, it felt like the coldest day of the year. But it was a great community event. The Royal Canadian Army Cadets were out that day planting like champions, and they were awesome, as they always are. It was a fitting initiative for them because their motto, Mr. Speaker, is Acer Acer Pori, which is Latin for as the maple, so the sapling. But all of us out that day were planting more than saplings. We were planting hope and health and a strong future. And it was rainy, and it was cold, and it was gray. But we had a wonderful day because we were planting hopes and trees together as a community. I think this motion and its stated goal is achievable. Communities across the province are planting trees. In Durham Region, the Durham 5 Million Trees program is part of the Durham Community Climate Change Local Action Plan. This program and others like it are prioritizing sustainable development, tree coverage, and addressing climate change. The City of Oshawa is committed to a green and healthy city. And as in other municipalities, they've had to battle the emerald ash borer, an invasive beetle that kills all true ash trees. They've also had to react to the extensive tree damage after the ice storm, as many communities across the Golden Horseshoe have had to. Durham Court Park is a park in Oshawa that was totally devastated by both the emerald ash borer and the ice storm. They teamed up to destroy this park, but our community partners and community members teamed up, and we've replanted and will soon be enjoying and are again enjoying this park and will for years to come. Mr. Speaker, we can measure our own journeys, if we think about it, by the trees that we plant. I'm sure we can all imagine or remember a tree that we saw when we were young and the size of it, whether we planted it ourselves or just it was a tree we knew as children. And when we go back and look at it as adults, we see that those trees are now tall and strong. And we can take that moment, I think, to measure our own growth. I think perhaps that the member from Windsor-Tecumseh and his poetry made me a little philosophical today, maybe a bit sappy. If you'll pardon the pun, I know, sorry. And you know what? I intended to leaf tree jokes out of this and stick to the debate. But anyway, I guess it's just not in my nature. Okay. My colleague from Windsor-Tecumseh reminded us of Joyce Kilmer's well-appreciated poem. I think that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a tree, but it was Ogden Nash who shared, I think that I shall never see a billboard lovely as a tree. Indeed, unless the billboards fall, I'll never see a tree at all. This is a motion about what we value in our communities. If we value health, if we value hope, if we value growth and green and sustainability, and if we value the landscape we are leaving to our children, then we value and support the spirit of this motion. It is said, Mr. Speaker, that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So let's get planting. We support this motion and the goal of planting 150 million trees, and I personally look forward to planting my share. Thank you very much.